Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this very important performance management webinar. And I'm your instructor, Rizwan Maniya. First of all, before we proceed with this very important session, quick confirmation. Can everybody see me? Is my voice clear to all of you? Is my voice audible to all of you? Plus, can you see my screen? Can you see the video? A quick confirmation from your end will be really nice. Okay, so I can see lots of people confirming. Yeah, that's great. That's great. Awesome. So everything is clear. That's perfect. Great. So now I'll take just a minute or so just to wait for new students who are struggling to join because it's the first day of the webinar. So let's make sure that everybody is in the session with us and everybody joins the session easily so that everybody can take the advantage. Okay. So yeah, let's wait for a minute or so. I'll just take a minute break here. I'm with you. Just stay with me. Let's wait for a minute or so, and after that, we'll start. Okay. Okay. So just few more seconds before we proceed with this very important session. Yeah, I'm just waiting for a few others to join the session. That's why I'm quiet because it's the first day. So let's ensure that maximum people do join the session. Okay. इसको सिखा देना चल So, hello everyone. So, welcome to this P2P session of ACCA Performance Management. And this is Rizwan Maniya, as always, with you people, in front of you people, to support you, to help you to ace in June 2021 attempt. So, hello everyone. Now, let's begin with the session. I will be giving you certain very important instructions. So please just note down all my instructions first before we proceed to the core area. Now, first of all, you should know about me, the teacher who is teaching you. So you need to have confidence on your teacher first of all. So I'm teaching this paper since more than 14 years, okay? And my area of speciality of teaching includes performance management, financial management, and advanced performance management, okay? I've taught more than 6,000 students. I teach both physically, currently in Pakistan, Karachi, and I teach online to international students as well. Fortunately, this is my 13th webinar for ACCA Pakistan, and I've conducted 6 advanced performance management webinars previously. And for performance management, that is F5, this is my 7th webinar with ACCA Pakistan. Okay, so this is my 7th webinar with them. So altogether, I've conducted 13 webinars for ACCA, and I'm fortunate to say that it's a big deal, it's a big achievement, and thank you very much thank you very much to ACCA and all of you for giving your feedbacks to ACCA and giving me another chance to conduct a very important webinar in front of you people. That is for the 7th time. Okay, I need chat box. So now moving forward, very important thing, how to remain connected after webinar. So this is my WhatsApp number. Just note down my number. It's 9232124362266. Okay. So this is my WhatsApp number, and you can send me a quick WhatsApp message. Let me give you quick instructions. I am managing global WhatsApp groups for performance management, and the purpose behind that is there is a global community of performance management paper, so that you can interact with fellow students globally, and you can ask questions, you can talk to them, you can discuss things. Plus, I also give support till the end before the exam in my groups, that is these groups. So there are already so many groups I have. So now a quick instruction I need to give to all of you. So do listen very, very, very carefully. I have in total 5 groups up till now, by the name of Performance Management Rizwan Maniya Group 1, Group 2, Group 3, Group 4, Group 5. Okay. Now, if you are already part of those groups, I repeat, if you're already part of those groups, so that's fine. Then you don't have to send me a quick WhatsApp message. No need to send the message then. But if you are not part of my groups, if you're not part of performance management global community, so in that case, make sure you do send me a quick WhatsApp message just right now. Okay, you can send me a quick WhatsApp message just right now, and later on after the webinar day 1, I will add you in the groups so that you are part of the global community for performance management. Okay, so let me repeat this again. If you are not part of my groups, you should send me a quick WhatsApp message right now at this number, and I'll definitely be adding you in my next group for performance management for June 2021 attempt. Okay, so make sure you do send me a quick WhatsApp message so that you're part of all the support that I'll give till the exam and later on as well. Now, other important thing is how to remain connected during the webinar. Now, that's very much important, okay? That's very much important, how to remain connected during the webinar, because my webinars, what I try my best is to ensure interactive sessions, okay? So make sure that you do use chat box given here. There is a chat box available in front of your screen. You can write there, you can ask questions, but there are certain rules that I need to tell you. So you have to follow that. And the rule is very simple. When I'm explaining a topic, don't ask in between the topic, okay? Once I'm done with the topic, you just keep your query in your mind, just write that query somewhere. And once I'm done with the topic, I'll get back to you. I'll ask you people if you have any question, if you have any query. So at that time, you can ask the questions, but make sure your questions at that particular time should pertain to that respective topic only. At the end of the session today, last 5 minutes or so, I will definitely be giving you further time for the general question and answers. Okay. So this is the WhatsApp number. I'm sure you people can see my screen. It's available in front of your screen. So it's available in front of your screen. Okay. And I think admin, if you can hear me as well, admin can also share the link of the WhatsApp group. Admin, if you can hear me, please just share the link in the chat box as well. Okay. Yeah, admin has done that. Thank you. Okay, so done with this one. Now the agenda for the first day includes what? First of all, introduction to this performance management paper. Definitely, I'm pretty much sure that those who are listening me right now, they are large in numbers right now, and for many of you, performance management would be the first time. Okay, so certain important basic guidelines I need to give you people. And one thing very important is that if you want to pass, okay, if you want to pass, you have to be with me till the end of the session, not only the first day, but for the all 5 days. So before I proceed, let me ask you people how motivated you are. So yes, come on, will you be with me in the complete 5 day session? How many people will say yes? So let's see how many yes I'm getting here. Okay, that's nice, right? So, and do you want to pass in June 2021 attempt? Now, another polling have started. You want to pass in June 2021 attempt? Say yes or no. Yeah, that's again big in numbers. That's great. So if you want to pass, Rizwan Maniya has a very good formula for you people. And I will make sure that in the remaining days, I give you a very good plan. This will be my 2 weeks plan that I will share with you people. And this 2 week planner will definitely help you to ace in your paper. So please, please, one very important thing, that is, maybe there might be a topic that you are already aware of, might be there is some area that you're already aware of, and you might think, okay, now I'm wasting my time. No, 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 there are small things, the techniques that I'll focus on. So make sure that you are with me till the end of today's session. I want everybody to be with me with this. I want everybody to be with me till the end of the session, and as well as till remaining 4 days. Okay, great. So introduction to PM, scope of the webinar, what scope I'm gonna cover, plus today's study plan, $1 million plans. Now, this is key to your success. My $1 million plans are key to your success. Okay, so make sure that the entire $1 million plan is very, very much clear to all of you. I'll be sharing my $1 million plans every day at the end of the session. So again, make sure you have to remain in the session till the end. I'll be sharing the $1 million plans, and this is the plan that you have to follow for the remaining 2 weeks to ensure you pass in June 2021 attempt. At the end of the session every day, we'll have a 10 or 5 minute session depending on the time that is left. So that's it. Now, a quick idea. Let's take a quick idea. There are two types of students who are appearing in June 21 attempt. Now, there might be a certain who are attempting for the first time. Come on, just let's ask you people, how many for the first time? Okay, how many of you for the first time? Come on, I need quick answers. First time, don't give me answer, but if it's a reattempt, I'm talking about first timers. Those who are giving paper for the first time. Yes, that's great. So I'm getting a huge number here for the first time. Okay, so first timers, you need to understand things. It's very important. You need to learn the art. You need to learn the technique. And Rizwan Mania, this time we're going to tell you lots of new things. Okay. Second group, going for a reattempt. So how many for a reattempt? And don't be shy to tell me it's a reattempt. Okay, that's part and parcel of ACCA journey. So reattempt students, quickly. Let me gauge the audience. Okay, okay, okay. Okay, that's good. That's good. So my general understanding is it's almost 50-50%, both the reattempt and the first timers. Okay, that's fine. So now for both of you, it's very important to follow all the instructions. First of all, a basic question: is performance management a hard exam? What do you think, guys? It's a hard exam. Say yes or no. So my answer here is a big no. Performance management is not an hard exam. It's not a hard exam. Yeah, it's really important to understand that the paper is not hard. What is important? What is important? The important thing is you need to work hard. So guys, are you all ready to work hard? Yes, that's great. A great introduction, right? A great beginning of this very important session of ACCA P2P. Great. So yeah, people are ready to work hard. And if you are ready to work hard, this paper is not at all difficult. And you will give me the feedback at the end of today's session when I'll make your theory really easy, really understandable to write, and you will see that soon. Okay, so my friends, you need to keep in your mind that those especially who are giving this paper for the first time, okay, you need to keep this in your mind that you are no more a kid. Okay, you are no more a kid. You need to step up from F2 management accounting to performance management, that is F5, right? So you are no more a kid. Don't classify yourself as an F2 student or a management accounting student. You need to raise your level. Okay, and why I'm saying this, it's because there are two very important factors to consider. Number one is the difference between the expectation of management accounting and performance management exam. Expectation of the student? No, expectation of the examiner. Yes, it's the examiner that has a different expectation from the student. So as I said, you are no more a kid. You are no more giving an F2 paper. You need to raise yourself. You need to raise your level because the examiner expectation is totally different. Now, how can I tell you it is different? It's a very simple thing to keep in your mind. And what's that? Now, in F2 exam, there was a question where it was mentioned calculate the variable cost and the fixed cost using high-low method, which means the focus in F2 was on numbers. The focus in F2 was on figures, was on the calculations of the numbers. Another example is calculate material price variance, calculate labor rates variance, and this, right? But now in F5, do you want to understand the difference? Now in F5, the game of numbers will not be there. It will not be a number crunching game. It will be, you know what? It will be what the figures mean. So the difference is very obvious. What the numbers mean. Now, if it's F2, the question is calculate material price variance. Okay, and someone worked out the answer, and the answer was 1000 adverse. Okay, or maybe 1000 favorable. Great. Now, when it comes to F5, you should know why this 1000 adverse came, why 500 favorable came. You should know the reason behind that. It's not about numbers only. You will not succeed by calculating only numbers. My friends, you need to keep this in your mind. You should know what the numbers mean. Come on, just quickly write in the chat box. In F5, the focus will be on what the numbers mean. Okay, just to make sure that you remember this, quickly just write in the chat box what the numbers mean. Yeah, that's great. Thank you. So, having said that, the expectation is different. Now, examiner will not tell you to work out or use high-low method. Okay. Now, examiner will assume that you on your own will use high-low method if there is a need, right? And you know what the numbers actually mean. So expectation is different. It's not number crunching. It's about why and what the numbers mean. Great. Secondly, the difference is of paper pattern. So all those who have given F2 exams before, my friends, remember it's F5. A complete different paper pattern needs to be followed here that you have to keep in your mind. And soon today, I will be discussing that as well. So remain calm, remain patient, remain with me, and I'll cover up small everything very slowly and gradually to make sure that you understand each and everything. Okay, can't access to WhatsApp group. Don't worry, Danish, you can send me a quick WhatsApp message at this number. I've already shared my number. It's on every slide at the bottom. You can share the you can just look at the number, just WhatsApp me everybody, then later on after the session I'll send you the proper group link. Okay. Now, the paper structure, as I mentioned, the paper structure is different. Now, at this point of time, I'm sure everybody of you exactly know the paper pattern. So we'll not waste too much time on this. We'll just give you a quick glimpse of that your paper is divided into 3 sections, mainly naming section A, that includes 15 short OT questions, objective test questions. Okay, and these questions having a weightage of 2 marks each, and these will be 15 questions. Okay, 15 short OT questions. So the total weightage will be of 30 marks from section A. When I say it includes OTs, so there are 7 types of OTs that can come in your examination. Starting from multiple choice question, out of 4, you need to select 1. Multiple response, a question that is much tough question where there could be 2 correct answers, 3 correct answers, 4 correct answers. Fill in the blank, very much tough one. When it comes to calculation, you need to be dead right as you have to input the numbers in the fill in the blank. Drag and drop, a different type of a question. You need to drag the option and drop at the relevant area. Drop down list, I would say it's a sister of MCQ because there is a button of drop down. You click, there are 4 options. You select the one option. Hotspot, a different type of a question, very less tested. Maybe a graph is available, a linear programming graph. Maybe you have to identify the correct area, you have to identify the ISO contribution line, maybe a CVP analysis graph. We need to identify the loss area or the profit area. So that's hotspot question. Then comes hot area question, a very simple one like true and false. Yes, it's true and false. That is hot area question. Okay, so going back to where we were, is section A, 15 OT questions having a weightage of 2 marks each, comprises of 30 marks, right? Then you have section B, which includes 3 case style questions, which means there will be a case study, a good case study. You have to read the case study, and after that, there will be 5 same objective test questions relating to that case study. So the different part here is that there will be a scenario, there will be a case study, and followed by that, after that, there'll be 5 OTs relating to that case study. Okay, so there'll be 3 case studies, each having a weightage of 10 marks. So that makes around 30 marks all together. Okay, 30 marks all together. Great. A good student, an intelligent student can easily pick here that 60% of the paper, or I would say 60 marks of your exams basically contains objective test questions. So yes, your practice in OT should be really, really, really good. And this is one of the reasons for failure as well. Okay. Then 40 marks of your exam comprises of constructive response questions known as CRQ. Now, constructed response questions means you have to construct the response by yourself, right? It's constructed response question. So to construct the response by yourself, here you need to have a good skill of Excel, spreadsheet, and word processing sheet, where you need to have a good skill to type the answers and use spreadsheet using all the formulas which are available in the examination. Okay, so it's a quick one. Now there are 5 broad areas: information technology and systems. I'll tell you today the sequence that I'll follow in this webinar in these 5 days: advanced costing technique, decision making, budget and control, and performance measurement. A quick one, the only main thing that I need to highlight is that advanced costing technique area or section will not be tested in CRQs, will not be tested in constructive response area. The reason is that it will only be tested in section A and B. So you need to keep this in your mind that for advanced costing technique comprising of ABC costing, life cycle costing, target costing, throughput accounting, environment management accounting, these are the 5 areas that will not be tested in section C. Okay, so that's it. It's a 3-hour examination, and a quick basic thing that I want you people to keep in your mind, because Rizwan Maniya normally focuses on examination technique. Okay, I emphasize a lot on how to pass the paper, and I will tell you so easy to follow tips and tricks that will help you to pass your paper. The intention is to pass only, right? And from these 5 days webinar, if you're able to pass PM, that's fantastic. To be honest, that's fantastic, right? So my friends, 1.8 minutes per mark. It's a very simple formula because it's a 3-hour exam, which means 180 minutes you have in the paper, and it's a 100-mark paper. So it's a simple division. 1.8 minutes per mark is the answer for you people. So just keep this in your mind. We will definitely be using this again and again when we are solving different parts of section A, B, and C. Okay, so just keep this in mind. 1.8 minutes per mark. That's great. Okay. Definitely, I will be sending you Excel worksheets whenever it's possible for me at the end of the session. Okay. And that's it. So a quick briefing is done. Now let's look at the original CBE paper. A quick 2-minute look. Let's look at the CBE paper. I'm just doing this because people should know that how the paper is actually structured. Now you can see this navigation tool available here. It's a navigator which allows you to jump to any section, any question. So it's section A, and you can see 15 questions. Then you can see section B, again 15 questions, because there are 3 scenarios. And then you have section C, that is of CRQ. So navigator allows you to jump anywhere, anytime you want to. So that's perfect for you, right? Now this is basically section A. So you just start solving it. You will see different types of questions like fill in the blank, like MCQ, like drag and drops, and things like that. Okay, so this is your section A, 15 OTs. Now after this, you will jump towards section B, that starts from question number 16. So let's click this. Now Section B is a one in which you can see there is a scenario here, and when it comes to the usability of this ACCA testing platform, don't worry. Once I will use in these 5 days, I will tell you different functionalities and how to make it easy for you to use in the exam. Okay, so I'm just giving you an overview here. That's it right now. So you can see here at one end there is a scenario, and this is the first question relating to that scenario. And once I'll just move next, so you can see here the scenario remains the same, but the question will change. Okay, so that's the idea behind section B. The scenario remains same, whereas the question will change. So 5 questions, the scenario will remain same. As you can see here, till 5 OTs, the scenario remains the same. Okay, and after that you can see there will be a different scenario. As you can see, chair company, yeah, this one. Today we are targeting this question as well, so we'll solve this using the CB platform in front of you people. So I'll use this in front of you today as well. So this is section B. Then you have CRQs, that is section C, so you can jump towards that as well. Yeah, here we are. Scenario on one side. Now if one relevant part relates to calculation, so you will be given with spreadsheet, and I'll make your spreadsheet skills really awesome. But for that, you need to remain connected for the 5 days. Okay, you can't expect that everything will be covered in first day. You need to be patient. Slowly, gradually, I have a plan in my mind. I'm teaching this paper since last 14 years, so you need to trust me here. You need to follow my plans, and gradually I'll be covering all small problems, areas, and techniques. Okay, so you can see spreadsheet here. Moving forward, as the requirement is now a theoretical one, so the response option changed, and now the response option is not Excel based, it's a word processing sheet where you have to type the answer like this. You can see you have to type the answer using the keyboard. So this is your second option for giving the response, and this is your first CRQ. And like this, you have another CRQ ahead, and like this, it's your paper format, section A, B, C. So this was a quick look I need to give you. We'll come back to this once we solve the question. So my friends, I hope this is clear to all of you. Okay. A quick one, I can see some remote question here from Saad Ali. He says, is this session useful for those who can't give remote exam? Saad, obviously my session is not just about the CBE platform. Okay, I'll teach you things, I'll teach you techniques that are equally applicable for remote, for center based, for manual. In fact, you don't have manuals, so it's for remote as well as for center based. Okay. Now the only difference between remote and center based is that in remote you're giving paper at your own place, and in center based you're going to center. That's it. The rest, everything remains the same. So done with this one as well. Now going back to the slide. So okay, wow, the interesting part is the passing ratios. Are you interested in knowing the passing ratios? Now let's talk positive, because I believe in positivity. I hate people when they talk negative about the paper. Why you are negative? You don't have to be negative. From today, if you follow me, I want you to be positive. Come on, are you ready to be positive with me? Say yes or no. Positive? Come on, just write it down. Positive, positive. We'll think positive. We will be positive. We will never think negative. Those who are giving us negative thoughts will be away from them. Make sure you are not getting closer to them, because just positivity will help you to pass. Okay, so what I want you people to think is positive. That's it. Okay, now if you look at the passing ratios, it's like a roller coaster. Yeah, wow, enjoying. But the best part is 44% was the last attempt. That's the best part. That's the highest of 8 attempts, right? 44 is the best part. So now what my mindset is, what I want you people to keep in your mind is, you all need to be in this 44%. Yes or no? Yes, you all need to be in this 44%, okay? And if you will be in this 44%, the passing ratio will automatically go to 75, maybe 80%, because all of you who are attending the webinar will inshallah pass in June 2021 attempt, okay? So the best part is it's on a higher side, and let's keep this on for the higher side. Done. Great. Quick things to remember. You can take quick screenshot of these things, okay? Because these will help you. Common problems in section A students did based on examiner reports. Okay, now I'll work on these problems while I'm doing these questions. So I will work on these problems one by one just to give you the idea what are the common pitfalls. The first is struggling in theory-based objective test questions. So yes, you need to be good in theory. You need to brush up your skills of theory. My friends, it's not a calculation-based paper only. It's 50-50%. It's 50% calculation, 50% theory. So you have to make sure that you are good in theoretical aspects. And for that, what I'll do is I will share with you the index of the book and will recommend certain important topics that you should read from the book, that you should read from the book. So I'll tell you that later on. Make sure you do follow it. Second, you are not covering the entire syllabus. Are you a magician or what? How can you predict? How can you predict? I don't know. I'm teaching this paper since last 14 years. I've taught thousands of students. I cannot predict the paper. So how can you predict? It's a CBE based paper. You know that there are more than one exam questions that are prepared and everybody gets a different paper. Now, if you are getting performance measurement, financial and non-financial, so I might be getting transfer price. So if you leave transfer price, if I leave financial, non-financial, there is always a chance of that I might fail. So you cannot leave anything. Don't go for the guesswork. Okay, now you sit sometimes at home and you think, okay, what will come? I think this will not come, because you don't want to study that topic. Okay, you're not interested in studying that topic. You think that it's that topic. No, it's not that. You have to make sure that you cover everything. Rounding off mistakes, silly mistakes, round to 2 decimal place, 3 decimal place. We are not sure how to do it, and we lose easy marks in calculations of section A. So note it down. We need to work on all these issues. Common pitfalls for section B. Candidates do not read scenario actively, as it's a case study based question. You know there is a case study. You have to keep this in your mind, that every OT that is asked in section B is actually connected with the case study. So you have to keep this in your mind, that you need to ensure that you link with the scenario. So read the case study carefully and apply the knowledge to the given scenario. Link that OT with the scenario. That's important. And as always, when it comes to calculations, that is fill in the blanks, the rounding off mistakes again remain a major threat for the students. Okay? So that's fine, that's good, that's important. Common pitfalls for section B. Now moving towards the common problems in section C. In section C. Wow, CRQs. Do not understand question requirements. Leave this job to me. Today, Rizwan Maniya, inshallah, will ensure that your area of understanding question requirement is resolved forever. It's a beginning of ACCA for you people. You are at F5 level. There are so many papers to give ahead. But this technique of mine will not only help you in F5, but it will help you entire ACCA. So please remain connected. Candidates are struggling to use spreadsheets to optimum. We are not sure how to represent the answer in a spreadsheet. What should be the layout of that? In these 5 days, I'll cover that as well. Candidates do not relate answer with scenarios. This is for the theoretical answers where we fail to link with the scenarios, especially questions like variances, especially questions like financial and non-financial indicators, where you have to write the theory considering what indications are given in the scenario. So linking is important. Candidates are not focusing on gain easy marks. My friends, listen one thing. Do you want to pass it easily? Come on, say yes or no. Are you all with me? I hope I'm making this interesting for you. Do you want to pass it easily or you want to pass it in a difficult way? What route you want to choose? Obviously, easy. So then why are you not focusing on easy marks? So where are easy marks? I will tell you. I'll tell you in these 5 days where are the easy marks, how to grip the easy marks, what to do in terms of planning the answer, from where to start the paper first, what to attempt first, what to attempt not. I will tell you in these 15 hours. So are you ready to attend the entire 15 hours? Say yes or no. So yes, you need to focus on gaining easy marks. Great, great. Candidates are answering what they thought they were being asked. Wow, this is an interesting statement. What they thought they were being asked. Wow, rather than what they were being asked. That's really important to understand. You write what you want to write. You write what you understand and then what you want to write. You are not writing what is supposed to be written here. You have to write what your examiner wants you to write. Are you not realizing the fact that people are not passing just because their answers are not according to what is being asked? So write what is required, and today's session will help you to cater this problem. So these were the issues I mentioned in front of you people. Okay, inshallah, Muhammad Sufyan, if I'll try my best to make this last attempt for you. So now, done with this one, tip of the day. What is tip of the day? Every day I'll give you a small good tip. Tip of the day. So let's see tip of the day. Find easy marks. Who will tell us to find easy marks? Just write it down. Rizwan, Maniya will tell us to find easy marks. Okay. Time management is extremely important. Easy OTs or CRQ. See, easy. For me, the word easy. PM, easy. F5, easy. How to pass? Easily pass the paper. Yes. So time management includes one very important thing is to start from easy objective test questions. Start from easy CRQs. Who will select? How to select? Who will tell us? Rizwan Maniya will tell you, inshallah. Okay? Make sure that you try to answer all the OTs in an exam. You can't leave the paper. If you want to pass, make sure you complete 100% of the exam and you will inshallah pass. Okay, so this is tip of the day for you people. Now let's quickly jump towards the planner side, because after a few minutes I'll start my first topic as well. So next 2 weeks plan. You need a plan. You ask for plans, right? Every time you ask different people for different sort of plans. So here is a plan. Attend all 5 days. Must. And I don't want you to watch the recordings. I know recordings are available, but it should be live. The interactiveness you will get is in live sessions. Okay. Then every day at the end of the session, this is why I'm emphasizing a lot on live sessions, is every day after the end of the session, that is once we are done with the session, I will share $1 million plan. So what is a $1 million plan? It's a plan that you have to follow once we are done with the webinar each day, so that you are able to cover the remaining questions of the similar topics that I've done today. I will tell you a plan through which you will complete maximum of the topics, maximum practice. Okay, so I will use my previous webinars as well. As I mentioned earlier, this is my 7th webinar, so I'll tell you the topics to cover from different webinars. Obviously I can't cover the entire syllabus in these 15 hours, but I'm sure you need support for other topics as well. The topics that I will not cover this time, I'll tell you from where to cover from the previous webinar. So that's the $1 million plan. Attend grand revision. It's basically, you know, the best chance. In 3 hours I will give you a quick revision of entire paper. That will be different for you, never seen before. So I'll announce the date of this in my WhatsApp group, of which you need to be part of. So I'll tell you when I'll be conducting grand revision, so that you will get a quick overview of entire performance management. Read few chapters from the book. Rest cover from my easy slides. The slides have been shared with you people. I'm sure ACCA did email. If you haven't received, don't worry. At the end of every day webinar, I will share the slides in the WhatsApp group as well, so that you can review that further. So you can cover things through my easy slides, and there are certain chapters to read from book. So I will recommend BPP book here. And from BBB book, you will read certain chapters. So what I'll do, I'll share the index screenshot in the respective WhatsApp groups, and I'll tell you the chapters to read from the book. Other than that, just use the slides that have been emailed to you by ACCA. Okay. Now, this is very important. Attempt mock and get it checked by expert PM tutor. This is compulsory. Friends, until and unless you don't practice. Now you are a sportsman, right? You play cricket, you play football, you play tennis, you play table tennis. Come on, you practice and then you go into the final match, right? So this is your exam. You need to practice. Mock is important. So make sure you do attempt the mock and get it checked by the PM tutor. That is compulsory. So to add up into this, I am offering my mock based session. Unfortunately, it's a paid session, but if you are interested in the mock based session, so you need to remain connected in my group. I'll share the details of this mock based session, which will include certain important topics as well, plus the mock, and I will give you the feedback of that mock as well with a debrief. Okay, so it will be a paid session. For that, the details will be shared in the respective WhatsApp groups. Okay, so this is a 2-week plan that everybody needs to follow, and if you do, you will be very much in chance to pass the paper. Now, the scope of the webinar will be simple. 25% focus will be on the knowledge areas, the basic revisions, because I assume before 2 weeks you have a good basic knowledge. 75% it will be practice based webinar. Okay, I will be covering new topics that I haven't covered in the previous webinars. So through $1 million plan, I'll share the other topics that you can cover later on. Focus will be on section A, B, OTs, and section C, constructor response questions. So I'll cover all the areas, all the 3 areas of your examination. I will definitely be using ACCA platform, which I'll start from today. Yeah, this is the key. Now, yesterday I was having a poll in my different groups, and I asked everybody that which areas you want me to focus in this webinar. So I received lots of responses every day. Before every section, I will be asking you further. So today's plan is of budgets. So based on students' feedback in different WhatsApp groups, they mentioned certain areas that they want me to focus on. So today in budgets, I'll be focusing on those areas. Okay, and like this, I'll ask every day for each and every section. Great. Webinar day-wise plan. Budgets today, variances tomorrow, decision making 3rd day, Performance measurement, the key area. Make sure day 4, make sure day 4, make sure day 4 is important, okay? Day 5, performance measurement, the remaining areas that will not be completed, and along with that, advanced costing technique, okay? So this is the plan for each day. Every day is important. If you are good in variances, you can't leave my session. You have to be in the session because I'll be focusing on examination techniques. So now it's time to start the budgeting area. Before I do, I need a quick short 2-minute water break. Let's take a quick short 2-minute water break. And after that, I will start with my first area. So right now, let me tell you the time here in Pakistan. It's 9:28. So the start of the break is 9:28, and I will end the break at 9:30. So you have 2 minutes. Just chill. We'll see you in 2 minutes time. So after 2 minutes, we'll start with budgeting. Okay, welcome back. So done with the break, all set to start budgets. Now, as I mentioned that based on students' request and based on my own paper analysis as well, certain things I need to share with you people before I proceed with the topic. Budgets is basically divided into two areas. One is the pure budgeting area, and second is the quantitative analysis. Okay. So first I'm targeting the core budgeting area, and you can see 8 times tested in the exam. And the interesting part is that you can see these questions, different attempts, so you can take a screenshot of these as well. That will definitely help you in your preparation. Calculation had been tested for 38 marks only. Okay, calculation has been tested for 38 marks only, whereas theory has been tested for 109 marks. Now that's shoot, right? That's a big number, which means 75% tested for theory in section C, CRQs. So this remains a problem for the students, is the theoretical aspect that is being involved a lot. Okay, so many of you gave me the feedback in that polling that I conducted, that they were struggling with budgeting theory. Okay, so that's why I've planned to cover budgeting theory today in my first half. And as for the calculative aspects of budgeting, I will give you the $1,000,000 plan, where you can cover the calculation aspects from my previous webinar, so that your coverage, is of a higher level, right? So you need to cover to a greater extent. So for that, this is the plan. So don't get disappointed. Okay, you want a topic that I should cover today, and I'm not doing that. So don't be disappointed by that. Every session is important. You take the session, you be with me, you learn new skill today, and through my $1,000,000 plan, you can cover the other areas that I'll share. Okay. So this gives an idea that theory in budgets seems to be important, right? Now, today's topic, incremental ZBB theoretically, because zero-based budget is tested for theory a lot. And in fact, it has always been tested for theory. So then, to make our theory more strong, I'll do one quick activity with you people, and then we'll be solving a 20-mark CRQ question first. Then I'll move towards learning curve, because majority again were asking me about learning curve, and they were very much concerned how to solve learning curve on a spreadsheet. So not only this, I'll even tell you the technique to how to find out answer of learning curve on a spreadsheet. So that's important. Okay, so for that I'll cover a section B 10-mark question, but along with that I will even explain you how to solve this on spreadsheet when it comes to section C. So now let's begin with this area. As I mentioned, the focus on knowledge will be less. A quick recap I'll give you, and then we'll move towards the question quickly, because the focus is on technique building here. Now, budgets, there are 6 budgets. Fixed budget, prepared at a single activity level. Okay, you prepare this at a single activity level, and you once you make it, you don't change the budget. Okay, then comes flexible budget, the budget which is normally used for like with like comparison. Okay, you prepare a flexible budget based on actual units that are given in the question. Okay, and you multiply these actual units with the budgeted selling price. Okay, and variable cost, budgeted variable cost, and you use budgeted fixed cost, right? So flexible budget, the purpose is to ensure like with like comparison. The purpose is to ensure controlling here, right? So that's it. Then comes incremental zero base, that I'll be explaining you in a bit more detail here. Rolling budget, used for uncertain dynamic situations. When there are lots of changes in the market, when inflation is fluctuating a lot, interest rate is fluctuating a lot, exchange rate fluctuation is lot. So in all those cases, you go for rolling budgets, right? Activity-based budget is basically used for overheads. So what you do, you break the overheads into different types of cost pools, and for those cost pools, you prepare a budget that is known as activity-based budget. Okay, so for detailed discussion about flexible budget and these budgets, I will share the $1,000,000 plan so that you can just watch that videos through that plan and you will cover those. Right now, I will be focusing first on incremental and zero based, and most importantly, how to draft the theory. Because yes, this is the only section of this paper that has been tested for 20 mark entire theory with no $1 calculation, no $1 calculation. So that's what you need to keep in your mind, that this is the only topic tested for theory for 20 marks. So incremental budget, recap quick recap. A budget that starts from the previous period budget, okay, or the actual results. So there are two things: a budget that starts from previous period budget or the actual result. Normally it's the actual result. Okay, normally you start from the previous period actual result, the period that just finished. So you take the actual figures of that and you start preparing the next year budget. Okay, now you start from actual results, and what you incorporate in the actual numbers is inflation. Inflation that is expected for the next year. So yeah, inflation that is expected for the next year. So you incorporate inflation in the actual result. Okay, and you incorporate the known changes. So what exactly do you mean by known changes? Very simple. You know what is inflation, right? So what is known changes? For example, in the next coming year, we are planning that we will hire new employees. We need employees in our HR department. So we expect that we'll hire 5 new employees. So we add the expected cost of 5 new employees in that. Okay, now we also expect one more thing, that we will reduce our canteen cost. Okay, so we incorporate the reduction of that canteen cost in our budget. Okay, uh, so these are known as known changes. Any planned changes are known as known changes. Maybe every year, every organization plan for different things. Okay, hiring new employees, firing the old ones, going for an expansion or going for a reduction. So all those planned changes are incorporated in your previous year actual figures. One thing I need to tell you, which is very important, for these two, that is inflation and known changes, it is very, very important that you need to give proper justification. Now, what's justification? You have to justify why, for example, 5% inflation you are using, why you are hiring new people for the next year. So for these two things, you have to justify only for these two things. That's it. Okay, so that's done. These two requires justification. Okay, that's fine. Now, situation in which you use this budget is stable conditions. What do you mean by stable conditions? It's very simple. Stable condition means that when changes are not very much, when there are very less changes according to the market, which means previous year is very, very much similar to the next year. Okay, now just try to figure out what I'm saying. If the previous year is very, very much similar to the next year, this means you can rely on the previous actual figures. Yes, you can rely on the previous actual figures because there are not many changes expected. So that's stable conditions. Okay.
So when you have stable condition and you do use incremental budget, so now comes a very important thing is the positives and the negatives. These are very important for theory. Very, very important. So anything you want to learn first is drawbacks and benefits of every budgeting method that is available. Okay, so what I'm saying here that you need to remember these advantage and drawbacks for sure for every budgeting method. Now if I say incremental budget, incremental budget is less time consuming, obviously. Why? It doesn't take too much time because you just have to justify what? Increment. Sir, what is an increment? I already mentioned. Increment means inflation. Increment means known changes. So you just have to justify two things. That's why it takes less time. It's easy to administer. Cost-wise, it's less costly, less time consuming. And you can quickly start from the previous year actual and incorporate these two and make your next year budget. Perfect. Okay. So that's the best part of this one. Now, the next thing that should come in your mind, that is very important, is okay, sir, we understood that increment needs to be justified. That is inflation, that is known changes. Okay. Hamid, I just want to request you here, as I mentioned earlier, that you need to ask any question that relates to the slide. Okay. In last 5 minutes or so, you can ask the other questions. So I would ask you to hold this question for the last 10 minutes, please, because it creates lots of disturbance in between then, because my in front of me the screen is visible where you are asking questions. So anything you need to ask for incremental, you're most welcome. For any other questions, just hold on and wait for the last 5 and 10 or 10 minutes so where I'll be taking up the questions. Okay. Okay, so I'm sure this is clear to all of you. Now, as I mentioned all of you, that the only thing that you need to justify is increment, right? So what next comes in your mind? Now, you are giving justification for inflation, you are giving justification for known changes. What is that thing for which you are giving no justification? What is that thing? So that is your actual result. No question, no question is basically asked about this actual result. No justification is being asked about this actual result. Why are you not asking about the actual figures? So this is the biggest, biggest flaw and problem of incremental budget. That is, you are not asking any question in relation to the actual results. And because of this, this results in what? Let's have a look. Prior period issues and uneconomic activities will continue in the next period. That's so obvious because no question was asked about these actual results. So in the last year, there might be so many problems. There might be uneconomic activities, which means you are buying material at a very higher price. The manager is least bothered to reduce the price because the manager knows nobody will ask me about this. Plus, there are so many abnormal losses. There are so many wasteful spendings going on, and nobody is asking you for anything. So, as there is a big issue that no question is being asked about the actual results, so this may result in uneconomic expenditures, uneconomic activities, wasteful expenditures will be incurred to ensure you meet the numbers, and this is the basic major issue of incremental budget. Okay, so as you can see here that because no justification is being asked about the actual numbers, so people might overspend, might go for uneconomic activities because they know nobody will ask about these things. And this is a major flaw of incremental budget. The only justification that you take is in relation to inflation and known change. Let's sum up incremental budget before I move towards the next one. Come on, let's sum up very easily. Budget that starts from previous period actual result or budgets in which you just need to justify inflation and known change. So the only justification you take is of inflation and known change. That is why it is time saving activity. It saves your time, it saves your money, it saves your effort. Okay? But because no justification is being asked about actual results, there is a big issue that uneconomic activities conducted in the past, in the previous year, will continue. Previous problems will continue, and it encourages wasteful spending because people know nobody will ask us as to where you have spent the amount. So this is incremental budget for you people. Moving forward is zero-based budget, a completely opposite approach. And after this, I'm quickly jumping towards the theoretical aspect on the drafting area. Okay, so be with me. So guys, now after this, what's important to keep in your mind? It's the zero-based budget, totally opposite to incremental budget. In that incremental budget, no justification was asked on the actual result. But when it comes to zero-based, remember this word. And the word is questioning attitude. Questioning attitude. The attitude of the managers where they will ask questions. Questions as to what? Why the activity is important. For what you are taking the money. Questioning attitude. So this is by the word very clear. Zero based budget. A budget that starts from a base of zero. Even though you have performed that activity, maybe maintenance of AC is an activity, maybe running a canteen is an activity. So you are running a canteen since last 20 years or so. It will say, I don't care. You need to justify why you are including canteen this year. Hello, I'm running this canteen for the last 20 years. You never asked me about that. So you'll say, no, now we are following zero-based budget. In incremental, we don't used to ask about the actual results, but now justify, not just mention things, justify why the canteen is important, because we start from a base of zero. So yes, the budgeting process starts from scratch, which requires justification relating to every activity, whether it's warehousing activity, maintenance activity, canteen activity. You need to justify each and every activity, no matter since how many years you are conducting that activity. I hope that makes a lot of sense. So everything needs to be justified right from the scratch. Yes, remember, it's very useful in public sector organizations and for service organizations. So I'll tell you why for public sector organizations soon. But right now, let's first move toward the steps, and then we'll come back and we'll discuss why public sector. The steps are important, have been examined, I think, around 3 to 5 times in the paper for around 3 to 6 marks. Okay, so it's always good to learn the steps of zero-based budget. Step 1 is it starts from decision package. You need to construct decision package. Decision package basically, in short, tells you the purpose of activity. Let's say you have a canteen in your organization. You need to include the expense for canteen in the budget, or I would say you need a expenditure allowance for canteen. So you need to prepare a decision package for canteen. You will justify why canteen is important for the organization. You will tell the core purpose of the canteen, how it will benefit the employees and the entire organization. So this is a decision package. Like this, you will construct decision package for all the other activities. let it be maintenance department, let it be warehousing. For each and every activity, a proper decision package will be prepared, which will explain the purpose, the reason why are we performing this activity. Okay. After that, one more thing here. In doing this decision package preparation, you do include two things in this first step, and that is you prepare a basic package, okay, the basic package, and you prepare an incremental package. Okay, so basic package is something that reflects the minimum requirement that needs to be fulfilled. For example, if I say canteen, the minimum requirement from a canteen is what? You go to canteen, you should at least get water, you should at least be able to buy tea. So these are the minimum things one would basically need to remember, that will come under basic package. The basic, I would say, that bare minimum that is needed for canteen. So that's the basic package. Okay. And after that, it also includes incremental packages. Now, what is incremental? Above the basic package. That is something which is not compulsory, something which is not mandatory, which is a top up to the basic package. Like, for example, you want to introduce more eatable items in the canteen. Like, you want to go for a buffet in your canteen, more proper food items in your canteen. So that is additional packages, incremental packages, right? So this should include basic incremental package. And like this, you have to prepare decision package for each and every activity. Now, once you're done with this, then comes evaluate and rank each package. Now, evaluate and rank each package. So once every manager of respective department is done with the preparation of their own decision package, like maintenance department manager will prepare the decision package for maintenance. Okay. Canteen manager will prepare decision package for canteen. Warehousing manager will prepare decision package for warehousing. So each manager will prepare their respective decision packages, right? And now the head of the organization, like me, for example, I'm the head of the organization. So I have so many packages in front of me on my table. I have a canteen decision package, I have a maintenance decision package, I have a warehousing decision package. So from these three decision packages, what I'll do an evaluation. And what's evaluation? It's simple: cost versus benefit analysis. So being the owner of the organization, being the head of the department, I would say, okay, how much beneficial will be canteen, and what will be the cost of canteen? How much beneficial will be maintenance and the cost of maintenance, like this for warehousing? So I'll do a cost versus benefit analysis for all the three activities, and from that I'll rank. Like, for example, maintenance comes at number 1 because of my cost versus benefit analysis. Warehousing goes at 2, and canteen goes at 3. Okay, so like this I will rank each package, and according to my ranking I will allocate the resources. I will include these in the budget. So yes, there was a question here. Do we need to write about steps? Yes, you need to write about steps, because as I mentioned, it has been tested 3 to 4 times in your examination, right? So steps are done. Now, what advantage will you get by this kind of a budgeting activity? Yes, Ahmed fees, priority base. Yeah, that's good. Now, what advantage will you get? Now, listen, do keep this in your mind. First of all, your resources allocation will be really good, really good. The problem that you are facing in incremental budgeting, that was wasteful expenditure, previous problems were being continued in the next year, those flaws will not be anymore. Those flaws will be removed because everything has been rightly justified. Okay. Staff involvement increases. Yes, this definitely will motivate the departmental managers. Like as I mentioned, the canteen manager will prepare its own decision package, so will be very much motivated because he's making its own decision package. Like warehousing will prepare its own decision package. So yeah, they get a sense of responsibility, and they get too motivated because of that. So it increase the staff involvement. Then managers consider alternatives. As you know, you need to justify. So you need to look for the best option. For example, if I say, if you are a canteen manager, so in preparing the decision package for the canteen, you will look at all the options of getting food, maybe the option of making the food in-house. You'll compare that with the option of getting the food from outside. So you look at all the options, how you can get the food, and the best option will be selected in terms of cost versus benefit. So when you're preparing your own decision package, I would say in that also you go for the best route. The best way to provide food through the canteen is adopted. Okay. So yeah, it's very useful, I would say, and the advantages are there. But don't forget what are the flaws. I will quickly repeat once I end this drawback area. Okay. So what are the drawbacks? What are the disadvantages? Yeah, very time consuming. Very, very time consuming. Takes lot of time. So many people will prepare the decision packages, then will bring to the head of the department, who will then select, will do evaluation. So time, cost, resources, lots of things, involved here. Second, the biggest issue, that is ranking. Now, the ranking that was done step 2 may get difficult, may be difficult, okay? And especially when benefits relating to the activities are of qualitative nature. Now, a quick idea I want to give here. Let's place yourself in that position, okay? Let's place yourself in that position. Come on, I'm asking you people. Okay, I'm asking you people. Please just reply me, okay? Now, if you are the manager, if you are the head of the department, okay, if you are the head of the department, I'll just create a quick conflict in front of you. If you are the head of the department, then if I give you one decision package of canteen and the other decision package of what you say, maintenance of an organization, okay? So now what do you think? How many of you prefer the improvement or the betterment of the canteen in an organization, and how many of you prefer the maintenance of AC, air condition in the organization? Come on, let me have a quick, just write it down. Canteen maintenance, just write canteen. Those who want to go for canteen, just write it canteen. Those who go for maintenance, just write it maintenance. Come on, everybody, come on. And you can see your own comments, I'm sure. Yes, I am getting a different answer. See, this is the issue of ranking. This is the issue of ranking. Because maintenance of air conditions is a good thing. If you have good air ACs in your organization, people will be motivated, which means the benefit of the maintenance is qualitative. The benefit of maintenance is qualitative, good working environment. Yeah. Plus, the benefit of food is also qualitative. As people will eat, they will get the energy to work. So the benefit of canteen is also qualitative, whereas the benefit of good chill working environment is also qualitative. And because of this, ranking is difficult. Subjectivity is being involved. As you just saw, many of you preferred maintenance, few said canteen, because it's the difference in their mindset. It's because they are perceiving the benefits differently, and the reason for that is qualitative benefits, right? So this could be the problem. I'm sure the way I've explained, it's quite simple. Yeah, it requires skills of the manager. You need to train them to prepare decision packages. Training is important. You need to train them to prepare decision package. That's for sure. Training is important for the managers. It is again costly. The last is it may focus on short-term aspects rather than long-term aspects. Maybe, for example, a quick one I'll just give you here. For example, the cost of canteen is less compared to the cost of maintenance. Okay, the cost of canteen is less than the cost of maintenance, right? So now manager, the head of the department says, okay, the cost of canteen is less. Let's give priority to the canteen than the maintenance of ACs. Okay, so maybe as you're looking at the cost, because the cost of canteen is less, so you said, okay, let's save the amount. Let's look at the short-term savings, but in long term, many important employees left the organization because they didn't like the working environment in the organization. So maybe there is a possibility you may go for cost savings in the short term, and that can have an issue in your long run business prospect. Maybe people who were key personnel left the organization because they were like, oh, so bad working environment. So there is a possibility of that. Okay. So this is the drawback area. Now, the last thing to cover is public sector organization. So now, why it's useful in public sector? Why it's useful in public sector? Listen, public sector is basically not-for-profit organizations, I would say, because public sector normally is government controlled. Okay, government controlled public sector, and normally public sector are not-for-profit organizations. So these not-for-profit organizations are a one where the motive is not to earn profits, because these are not for profit. So as their motive is not to earn profits, it is really important them for to control the cost. It's really important for them to control the cost. Okay, so cost is important for them because these are normally not for profit. And I would say zero-based budget is the best way to control the cost, because everything needs to be justified before being included in the budget. Because public sector are normally not-for-profit organizations, so it is really important that you need to control the cost, because their motive is not to earn profits, and zero-based budget is the best way to control the cost because proper justification is required. So a quick review: zero-based budget starts from the base of zero. Everything needs to be justified right from the scratch. Step number one, you prepare decision package for each activity, which includes the purpose, why it is important, right? Second, you evaluate and rank all the packages. Okay. Third, on the basis of ranking, you allocate the resources. It is useful for public sector because public sector requires to control cost, and zero-based budget is the best way. What advantages will this provide you? So it ensures good allocation of the resources. Okay, efficient allocation of the resources, plus staff involvement will increase as everybody will prepare its own decision package, and managers will go for a questioning attitude. Okay. Drawbacks includes it is time consuming and costly. Yeah, so much of work is involved. Plus ranking may become subjective, just because when benefits are of qualitative nature, you might be confused to prefer one package over the other. You need to train the managers. It's costly area. Plus it may focus on short-term savings at the expense of long run. Okay. The last answer I'm giving you is the most important, I feel here, is what is incremental package, Umair Khalid? Incremental package means that first is a basic package, okay? The minimum that is required. Now, above this, what else is important to improve a canteen is an incremental package, is an additional package that needs to be done. Okay, so in that case, I would say additional is a better word. So I would say in that additional package, you add on the additional things that will improve the canteen. Okay, so basic is the bare minimum, and above that is the additional one. So you include everything in the decision package. So I hope this is clear, right? Okay. Amirtha Kumari, I can't see your question. You can just repeat the question again, please. Yeah, Yusra, one decision package is prepared for single activity. Okay. Yeah, you will write 3 points, 3 steps for zero-based budget, even if that is for 3 marks or if it is that for 6 marks. Okay. The purpose of covering zero-based budget is to teach you how to draft theory, so that I'll start right now. You can ask questions in the chat box. It's the head of department that further chooses which activity needs to be selected in the budget through cost versus benefit analysis. Okay. Punit, I'm afraid to say you are writing in the chat box, which you can't find. So it's the chat box. Okay. So friends, I hope we are done with the quick revision of these areas, right? Now, all set to make theory our strength. Are you ready? Say yes or no. Okay, that's great. Now please focus on this, what I'm saying. Now, the first thing to learn, listen now please, let's come on the area of technique here. You are allowed to take calculators, you are allowed to use calculators in remote exam, okay? But those should not be the programmable calculators. Now, the first thing, because I'm focusing on theory first, so listen, every question that you read, it's important to understand requirements. So for every requirement, you break that into verb and objects. Come on, please. Focus what I'm saying. What are verbs? What are verbs? State, explain, discuss, compare, calculate. These are verbs, right? These are verbs. And one more list I'm sharing with you people. You already have this. We have shared this as well with you people. You can see in your document section. This is a very important document I've shared with you people. So make sure you do use this document later on for your further review. See, this document correctly tells you how to handle CRQs. Okay, correctly tells you how to handle CRQs. When it comes to 20 mark question, how to deal with those 20 mark, this document will help you out. Okay, so not only this focuses on theory, it also focuses on calculation. So for numerical questions, you need to go through this document, because normally the examinable verbs that relates to numerical questions are calculate, it's a verb, derive is a verb, estimate, it's a verb. Okay, so these are calculative based verbs. So you just read the instruction, it will help you. And for the theory based narrative questions, more detailed verbs are used, like describe. Now, what describe means? You need to understand what describe means. How describe is different to interpretation. You need to know that. Unfortunately, my students, people normally think that explain is similar to state. State is similar to discuss. Discuss is similar to interpretation. It's not that. There is a difference, and this document that I've shared with you people, you must read this document. Okay? Outline, compare, identify, discuss. Yeah, discuss. Okay? Explain. You need to respect the differences. And I'll tell you a very, very important thing, that these examinable verbs, these examinable verbs are so important that these examinable verbs will indicate you two things. This is a $1 million point I'm telling you people. Just listen, everybody. These examinable verbs will tell you two things. Number one, not only they indicate what to do, like explain, what to do in explanation. I've just showed you here what to do in explanation. Okay? This means you need to give a reason for something. Reason for something. Explanation means you have to give reason for something. Say why it is as it's rather than just stating. So explanation is different for stating. And in explanation, the focus is on the word why, the reason, not just stating only. Now, what is stating? Just mentioning that thing. Just mentioning that thing. Okay? So listen, not only the verb indicates you what to do, but it often tells you how much detail to go into. Wow, magical point. I'm sure this is something you haven't covered. This is something you haven't covered before. To be honest, listen very carefully, everybody. Now we are starting with a very interesting part. I will build up your confidence today how to write the theory. And today you will feel the difference in you, what you were before the session and what you will be, inshallah, after the session. But concentrate. Be with me. So, two things. Verb will indicate you two things. What to do, and in how much detail you have to go. Let's take this as an example. State and explain. What is the difference? What is the difference? State and explain. What is the difference? So listen, when you read the question requirement, you first figure out the verb. And the second thing that you will find in is the object. And I can even call this as element. Okay? So, number one, state advantages of flexible budget. Listen, please be with me today. It's very important to understand. State advantages of flexible budget. Now, verb is state and object. Object means you have to write about what? Do you have to write about flexible budget? Do you have to write the definition of flexible budget? No. You have to write about the advantages. So your object is advantages, not the flexible budget definition. Now, if someone is writing definition, you are wasting your time. You will not be given marks for that, because your element, your object is advantages. Okay, that's good. Okay. Now, first question is state advantages of flexible budget. A similar question with a similar object but with a different verb, is explain advantages of flexible budget. Wow, interesting, right? Similar object. In both you have to write advantages. But the point that I want to make today is that the verb not only tells you what to do, but also tells you the extent to write. It tells you the extent to write. So, when I am solving the first part, state advantages of flexible budget. So here the verb is making very clear that I will just list down the advantages. Just list down means that I'll just state the advantages. Okay, this is one advantage, this is second advantage, this is third advantage. That's it. Simple state the advantages. That's it. Don't have to go into the reasons why this is an advantage. Don't go into the reason why this is the advantage. Just state the advantage. That's it. But when it comes to explain the same object, so now you have to go into further detail. The verb is telling you, hello, go into much more detail. So what is that detail? The detail is tell why this is an advantage. Why? Why this is the drawback? Tell the reason. So see, it says why it is it. So state why it is as it is rather than just stating then it is. Okay, which means it's not just stating. You have to go into you have to go one step further. That is the detailed explanation. Okay, let me give you one example here as well. For example, let's say incremental budget. We just covered incremental budget. That's why I'm giving you example incremental budget. Okay. Now, state advantage of incremental budget. So incremental budget is time saving and less costly. Okay, fine. Time saving and less costly. Great. Stating is what? Incremental budget is less, sorry, it's more time saving. Yeah, more time saving. Incremental budget, it's more time saving and less costly. Okay, that's fine. Stating. But when it comes to explain, so you will say incremental budget is more time saving, less costly because only increment needs to be justified. Because only increment needs to be justified. See, you are going into the reasoning of that. You are explaining why this is an advantage. This is an advantage because it is more, because you just need to justify increment. That's it. Are you getting the difference? So when it comes to state, time saving, less costly. When it comes to explain, you go further ahead, and that is time saving, less costly, because only increment needs to be justified. Wow, this is the weakness. Unfortunately, our students are not aware of the verbs and the differences between them. That is why I've shared this document. Must read this document, and not only I've shared, but I've explained you the difference between these two. So verb always indicates what to do and the extent of that. The best example is state and explain. Okay, no need to use any technical words, right? That's perfect. Now, another example, discuss steps of activity based costing. Now discuss, okay, what to do in discuss. Yeah, just go here and you should know what to do in discuss. I've shared this PDF. It's actually attached right now in this GoToMeeting software as well. You can download. You just look at the panel you have, and you can see this document attached. I think admin have attached these documents. Admin, please just attach the documents if you haven't. Okay. Compare throughput with marginal costing. Calculate material mix variance. So friends, I hope you have understood my point here. Then whenever you are reading the question requirement, especially the narrative ones, you need to figure out what? Verbs and objects. Verb, object. What is object? The important thing to write. Or I would say about which you have to write. Okay. So about which you have to write is object, and to what extent you have to write is verb. Someone says explain, you would say what to explain? Advantages. So advantages is the object. Explain, what to explain? Problems. So problem is the object. Okay. So this is how you always figure out that, okay, this is the verb, this much I have to write, and this is the element about which I have to write. Got it? Plus, as I mentioned, verb tells you in how much detail to go. So along with that, do look at the marks as well. Now it's very important. If the verb is explained and the marks are just 2, so you can't go in too much detail. Okay, you can't go in too much detail. Getting the point? So marks are important. Marks are also important. So when you're planning your answer, and I'll show you today how to plan out the answer. I'll do a past paper question. Just wait, please. I'll do a past paper question for you people, and I'll show you how to plan out the answer. So look at that, what I'm saying here. Once you're planning the answer, you have to look at the verb, which will tell you the extent, and also look at the marks. And just combine these two thoughts, and then you will plan the answer. Okay. Clear? Yes, S and more or less. Okay, so I hope this is clear to all of you. Great. Done. Now, verb is clear, object is clear. Object is the key thing, right? Obviously, for comparing, we do write the contrasting points, the differences between these two. Okay, now this is different in this one, this is different in this one. This is how we compare. Okay. Now, next thing, look for extra requirements in one question. Look for extra requirement in one question. Now, how to look for extra requirements in one question? Are you all with me, guys? Say yes. Come on, first of all, give me your feedback. Is this interesting or not? Is the session going interesting or not? Is it something new for you people or not? I'll give a break. After every 1 hour, I give a break, okay? So don't worry. Let me complete this 1 hour, the second 1 hour, and I'll give a break, okay? Guys, is this interesting or not? Okay. Great. So, you know how to understand the verb. You know how to figure out the object, element, about which you have to write and how much you have to write is verb, right? And when you are planning the answer, you look at the verb and you also look at the marks. Now, look for extra requirements by the word and. Every time you read a question, you will see this word and this adds up the requirement. In one question, this adds up the requirement. This word and gives you the idea, okay, this is also I have to do and this is also I have to do. So this word and adds up the requirement, and this is what you have to figure out as well. This is what you have to figure out as well. The word and. So don't forget This word and adds up the requirement. I will show you right now very quickly after this that what and does. So remember this entire slide, verb, object, I have made it very clear that state is just stating the points, whereas explain means you have to explain why this is an advantage. So it's a difference in the verbs, right? I've mentioned what objects are. I've also mentioned that look at the marks and look at the word and every time, which adds up the requirement. So this sums up this slide. Before I move towards the next area, a quick discussion I need to do here. Whenever you are reading the question, remember questions are of two types. One is knowledge based, one is application based. It's very simple. Knowledge based is the one in which you just have to write the general theory. For example, advantages. So the advantages that you have learned, that the points that you have kept in your mind, you just have to write the general theory, which means you don't have to link with the scenario. So without link with the case, it's knowledge based. Okay. One step ahead to knowledge based is application based. Now, what is that? I'm sure what is knowledge based? Knowledge based is just, for example, write the advantages. So you learn the advantages, you just wrote down the advantages. That's perfect. Knowledge based. Okay. No need to link with the scenario, right? Application based. What is application based? It means you have to go one step further. That is, you have to use your knowledge, okay, but you have to link your knowledge with the scenario, with the case study. So application based requires you to do one thing additional. That is, not just use your knowledge, but now use your knowledge and link with the scenario. For example, you remember the advantages of incremental budget. That's your knowledge. But now you have to find whether those advantages are applicable considering the scenario, applicable considering the situation, and then write. Link with the scenario. So my friends, every time you read the question, you have to find out whether it's knowledge based or application based. I'll go for a quick rehearsal right now that will give you a quick idea what exactly I mean to say by this. So this is the important thing that you have to keep in your mind. And also when you read a question, try to figure out verbs and objects. So two things, just lock it down. This is the $1 million strategy. Whenever you read the question, I'll just sum up here. Whenever you read the question, look at the verbs and the objects. Secondly, make sure you find this word and every time to find out the additional requirements, and also look whether it's knowledge based or application based. Knowledge based or application based. So clear? Verbs and objects and knowledge base and application base. Let's do a quick rehearsal before I give you another break. So please, let's test ourselves for what we have learned before I give you another break. So now you people participate. I want everybody to quickly write here, okay? Everybody to quickly write here. Come on, jump in the session now. It's a question of December 2012. Explain what a monthly rolling budget is and how it would operate at the company. 4 marks. Come on. Come on. Verb. Verb. And how many verbs? Everybody, come on. Let's participate, man. Come on. Okay. So what I'll do here, first of all, is I will first highlight this word and additional requirement. And okay, so what is the verb? There is just one verb. Yeah, it's explain. Explain is the verb. Okay. Any other verb? No. It's just explain. Explain, which means you have to go for the reasoning. You have to you have to explain why. Why? So what to explain is the object. What to explain is the object. So what is the object? Can you tell me? Now this is interesting. This is interesting. This is interesting. The object is what? What is the crucial word? What? Monthly rolling budget is what? Now what? You know what? The meaning of what? I ask you, what are you doing? What are you doing? So you will reply me, I'm doing this. So what? Okay. So this is the first object, and second object is what? And second object is how. How. The most key word is how it would operate. How it would operate. So remember, until and unless you won't answer what and how, you can't get 4 marks. If you write good about what and you ignored how, you will not get complete 4 marks. If you wrote good about how and you ignored what, you still will not get marks. To get complete 4 marks, you need to write about how and what. How and what. 2 objects. So this and is actually giving you the idea. There are 2 things to answer. Are you getting my point, everybody? Okay. So done with this one. That's fine. That's great. Now, knowledge based or application based? Come on, quickly. Knowledge based or application? I'll discuss the marking scheme. Wait, I'll discuss the marking scheme with some other question. Just hold on. Knowledge or application? Now, both is a stupid answer. Sorry, both is a stupid answer. Please. I told you knowledge is just pure knowledge and application includes both. So please don't write it both. Just tell me knowledge or application. It's an application based question. Why? Because you need to relate to the case study. The question, the name of the question is there. So you need to relate to the case study. So you read the case and see now according to their situation what the budget is and how it will operate. So it's application based. Got it? Agreed? Great. A quick test before I give the break. So motivation for break. If you give me the right answer, if everybody gives me the right answer. So I hope this is clear to all of you, right? The first one. Come on. If you need a break, quickly tell me. And I'll give you a 5-minute break. Wow. Motivation. 5-minute break. So let's see when it starts. Discuss the problems that may be encountered if the company decides to introduce monthly rolling budgets together with the new bonus scheme, such as one outlined above. Okay, now verb. Discuss. Examinable verb is discuss. Okay, discuss. So what to discuss? What to discuss? Problems. Okay. What to discuss? Problems. Okay. But how many problems of what kind? Problems of what kind? Problems encountered if company decides to introduce monthly rolling budgets. Okay? Problems if the company decides to introduce monthly rolling budgets. Okay? Problems of rolling budget. Is that the only thing you have to write? No. No. This time they haven't used the word and. Rather than they have used the word together with new bonus scheme. So this together is playing the same role of the word and. So you have to discuss the problems of monthly rolling budget. Along with that, you have to discuss the problems of new bonus scheme. Now listen, my friends. Listen, when you are able to figure out the right objects, you know your marking scheme is divided according to that. Now this is a 6-mark question. Okay? So you will only be able to get 6 marks if you write about these two things. Getting the point? My voice is clear to all of you? Is Rizwan Maniya audible? Yes or no? Yeah, I'm audible. Maybe your internet issue. Thanks for the confirmation. Great. Thank you, everybody. Okay. So now listen, I'm not discussing the marking scheme right now. I'll tell you the marking scheme as well. Okay. But right now, there are two objects. So to get complete 6 marks, you have to touch this area. You have to touch this area. Overemphasizing on one, you're wasting your time, you're wasting your money, you're wasting your effort. Examiner will not give you more than the assigned marks. For example, 3 marks for this, 3 marks for this. Even if you write so many of problems, you can max get 3 marks for this. Getting the point? So yes, that's it. Clear. Verb and objects. Verb tells you the scope. Object tells you things that you have to write about. Okay. Now, knowledge based, application based. Knowledge based, application based. Quickly. Knowledge based, application based. Knowledge based, application based. Yes, it's application based because it uses the name of the scenario. In fact, you need to consider the scenario in mind and then mention the problems. Then mention the problems. Okay? Then mention the problems considering scenario. Getting the point, everybody? Are you all with me? Say yes or no. Okay, understood? Okay, now what's your feedback up till now? The skill that have been developed, what is it useful? What's your feedback, please, everybody? Up till now, things are going good. Are we all ready for the new question that will start right after this? Loving the techniques. My focus is on techniques. My focus will be less on teaching the basic skills, more towards techniques. Great. Thank you very much. Let's take a quick break. Let's take a water break. It's 10:41 in Pakistan. I'll start the session 10:45. 10:45. Okay. So be with me. Don't go anywhere. We'll start with a question. I'll teach you practically how to write the answer after 4 minutes break. In the meantime, you can quickly send me the WhatsApp message if you're not part of the group. See you. Okay, welcome back, everybody. Are you all ready? So let's start with past paper question, section C. I've taken my due time. I've set the bases. Now, this base will not only help us today, but will help us for the all remaining 4 days. Whenever we are solving any narrative of CRQ, this will be with you people, okay? So now, additional tips. Rizwan Maniya is all about tips and tricks. So please remember, in the question, understand requirement, you know what it means, verbs and objects, plus knowledge-based, application-based. Getting the point? Second, you need to keep in your mind, it's 1.8 minutes per mark. If you multiply this with 20 marks, because the question of CRQ is of 20 marks, so you have 36 minutes to solve. So whenever you are solving a CRQ from today till the exam day, make sure that you always keep in your mind the time frame. Try to solve within 36 minutes. 36 minutes, okay? If there are calculations, so carefully structured, clearly set out. I'll talk on this point later on. If it's narrative, you need to use simple English. Simple. It's not an English test. You can't impress the examiner by using difficult verbs, sorry, jargons that you don't know yourself. Okay? So make sure that simple English. Right. So it's time to jump towards the first CRQ for today. Now, what I've done is that I was very much confused in selecting the question for today, but I asked certain questions and you people answered that you struggle in questions like 20 marks. Damn, theory, too much. Yeah, so we need to prepare ourselves for the worst. Okay, my $1,000,000 plan will be so much good that you will cover other topics and calculations as well. But theory. From today, I want theory to be your strength rather than your weakness. Okay? So let's read the question. Some commentators argue that with continuing pressures to control cost and maintain efficiency, the time has come for all public sector, not for profit usually, right? Organizations to embrace ZBB. There is no longer a place for incremental budgeting in any organization, okay? Particularly public sector ones, where zero-based budgeting is far more suitable anyway. Okay, a very short scenario. 4 requirements. Complete theory-based question. Let's begin. Requirement 1. Discuss the particular difficulties encountered when budgeting in public sector organizations compared with budgeting in private sector organizations, drawing comparisons between the two types of organizations. Now, look at the marks, look verb and objects, and tell me what are the verbs and objects. Are you ready? I need to see the answers in the chat box. Here we are. Okay, great. So, great. Let's jump to the slides and let's have a look. So this is the first part. Verb is discuss. What to discuss is difficulties encountered. Okay? When budgeting in public sector organizations compared to private sector, and make sure you draw the comparisons. you draw the comparisons. It's important. Draw the comparisons is important, okay? So difficulties and compare definitely is important. So difficulties object, comparison is also very important word here, right? Between the two types of organizations, and look at the marks, 5. So how to plan the answer? Now I know the verb, it's discuss, and I know the object, it's difficulties, right? Now this is the chat box where you are writing, okay? Now, first of all, if I say private sector organization and public sector organization, budgeting is difficult in public or private sector. Not only I'll teach you how to draft, but I will also cover this topic while explaining the answer, okay? So private sector and public sector. Private sector organization is profit-oriented organizations. Public sector are not-for-profit oriented organizations. Private sector organizations has one priority, and that is shareholders only. Shareholders. Public sector organizations, multiple stakeholders, government, employees, society, okay, customers, so many. Because public sector examples includes what? Hospital, a public sector one, school, public sector organization, okay, police security services, public sector organizations, welfare, public sector organizations, okay, city administration, public sector organizations, right? So the difference I'm telling you is the primary objective is there in private sector, whereas there is no primary objective of profit maximization in public sector. Multiple stakeholders, okay? So now you need to have key things in your mind. And let's see. There are 4 points which you will use in your discussion. Factors that differentiate not-for-profit with profit organizations. So private sector are normally profit-based and public sector are not-for-profit based. So 4 points. Now listen, you will not use these pointers in the paper. You will not write point 1, 2, 3. These will be paragraph based. 4 paragraphs for 4 different points. Don't use numberings because this is not preferred. So yeah, what you can do is you can use subheadings like these. Small subheadings, it's good. Reader always gets to understand, okay, what is in this respective subheading. So it's easy for the reader to understand, right? So because the verb is discuss, so you have to discuss, okay? And normally what you will be writing here, let's see, because you have to discuss this point. So what you will discuss, you will write that in profit organization, one objective, and that is camera, one objective, one objective of profit maximization. Okay, that's fine. Profit maximization is one objective. Okay. Okay. But in not for profit, multiple objectives. Multiple objectives. This is the discussion that you are doing. Okay. Multiple objectives. That is welfare. Okay. Employee benefits. Okay. Ensure proper use of government fundings. Okay, so multiple objectives. Now listen, remember, comparison is what you have to do. So this is the comparison that I'm doing here, mentioning about profit organization, single objective of profit maximization. On the other hand, not for profit organization, focus of welfare, employee, and all blah 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 blah. And then emphasize on the fact that because of this, budgeting is difficult. Budgeting is difficult. Listen, my friends, I'm telling you the $1,000,000 technique. Whatever the object is, try to use that core object word again and again in your answer. If you try to use that core object work again and again in your answer, this gives reader the idea, okay, yeah, this is the difficulty. Okay, this is the difficulty. So whenever you mention the word difficulty, 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 reader gets to know that you've answered the right element, you've answered the right object. So then mention, because there are multiple objectives, budget cannot focus on one objective. Budgeting will be difficult because you can't focus on so many objectives at the same time. This is the problem. See, this is the problem, that because there are so many objectives in a not-for-profit organization, like focus on the society, the focus on the employee benefits, the focus on ensuring that we use the funds rightly, the focus on providing right education, quality education, so many objectives. So your budget will get confused and will say, what is I need to focus on more? So many objectives, making budgeting difficult. So this difficulty word should come again and again in your answer. Are you getting my point, Ahmed? But right? So in a paragraph with a small subheading, in one paragraph, nicely structured, comparison, yeah, done. Object 1 met. Difficulty point, object 2 met. Perfect. Okay. Is my voice audible to all of you? As Priti just complained that she can't hear my voice. Okay, thank you. I think this might be due to your internet. Getting the point. Perfect. Second heading, benefits, outputs. Now, a public sector output is pretty much different to a private or a profit organization output. Public sector outputs are more non-quantifiable. Now, you can discuss this point. How? See, private sector output. Okay, let's discuss private sector output. Private sector output, you input the cost, you get the output. That is, you spend on marketing in a private sector, you get output in form of revenue increase, in form of profits increase. In a private sector, your scope of judgment is based on financial numbers. The judgment is done on the quantifiable numbers, like revenue maximization, like profit maximization. Are you getting the point? So I'm sure you are getting my point here, that the output of a private organization is more it's more quantitative. Revenue, you can gauge the numbers. Yeah, revenue is going up. Yeah, the cost of advertising is working for us. Revenue is going up. We went for a Facebook ad and revenue went up. Our profit went up. Private sector, profit organization. Okay, but in a public sector, outputs are difficult to measure. For example, it's a police service. Government is giving security services to the citizens. Now, from a police service, what output do you get? Come on, tell me. What you expect from your country police or your city police? Come on. Safety, protection, how much safe you feel. So, is it something that you can quantify easily? Okay, crime reduction, but can you quantify it easily? No. Just compare. At one end, you can quantify the revenue, but you can't quantify how much security the service police has given us. How much safe the citizens feel when they walk out at 3 a.m. in the night with their very good new iPhone 12 Pro Max. And if you're living in Karachi, Pakistan, now those who are from Pakistan, they know what I'm trying to say. You can't you can't take your tablets or iPhones 3 a.m. in Pakistan like this, okay? So security, because that would be the last day maybe for you or for your iPhone. So my point is that, okay, Vikram says same in India. Okay. So my point is qualitative. Qualitative. It's difficult to, quantify the numbers. So see, what is a budget? Come on, tell me. Okay, now comparison done? Comparison done? That's perfect. It's difficult to quantify, okay? So it's difficult to measure. Difficult to measure. Okay, that's fine. Now, comparison done? Done. Ask yourself, there are two objects, comparison and difficulty. Have I ensured comparison? Yes, you have done that. Now come to difficulty. Because of the problem that you cannot quantify, budget making will be difficult. Now why? Why? Why budget is difficult? Tell me. I'll tell you. I'll tell you why. You make a budget, you start from revenue minus cost at profit. Revenue minus cost, you get profit. Okay? Now, you don't have any revenue. Police service is not generating any revenue. The output is crime solved. So, you don't have revenues. Your outputs are difficult to measure, which means your budgeting will be difficult. Listen, not impossible I'm talking about. It's difficult, not impossible. It's difficult. So budgeting will be difficult because you don't have outputs in a measurable form. Even you can convert the qualitative into quantitative ones, but that is also a subjective matter. Okay? So budgeting is difficult. Covered the second object. Two objects. Move on. Multiple stakeholders. Paragraph number 3. Private sector or profit base I'm talking about. One primary stakeholder, king of all, shareholder, the big giant shareholder. You can't give priority to others in front of shareholder. Profit organization, its shareholder. Public sector, not for profit. So many students for an education. Students, employees of that institution. Society mean parents. Are they getting good quality education? Government, is government satisfied with the quality education because funding is being given by the government? So many stakeholders, so many objectives, messed up situation. In private sector, our priority is our shareholder. Everybody comes after shareholder. Employee, we'll not give you increment because our profit is going down for the shareholders. But in public sector, you have to take care of employees as well, providing good quality education to students as well. That increases your cost. Yes, problem. So multiple stakeholder objectives, and because of this, it will be difficult in budgeting, because in budgeting, you will be confused to whom you have to give the priority. In private sector, the priority will be given to shareholders. In public sector, priority you cannot give to government only, employee only, students only. Difficult in budgeting. 4 paragraphs, and I'm explaining the differences, and every time I'm mentioning the word difficulty, because of this difficulty, because of the difficulty. Until and unless you cover both the objects, you will not be getting marks. Approximately 1.5 marks for each point that you're explaining here. Okay? Value for money. You need to keep this in your mind. VFM, 3 E's. 3 E's. We'll be covering this time in 3 E's in performance measurement area. That is right on Thursday. So stay tuned for that. So 3 E's. Economy, efficiency, effectiveness. Public sector organization performance needs to be gauged against 3 E's. Public sector performance needs to be gauged against 3 E's, which means focus should be on economy, that is providing cheap services. At the same time, focus should be on efficiency, which means that you provide a cheap service, but from that cheap service, your output should be maximum. Output maximum. Okay? Then comes effectiveness, which means that your output should be objective oriented. Objective oriented. So because value for money is important, whenever you are judging the performance of a not-for-profit organization, value for money is important, and that's why again there is a clash in budgets. At one end you say economy, cost should be low. At the other end you say efficiency, which means the output should be maximum. Now if you go for a lower cost, how can your output should be maximum? Okay? Plus effectiveness, whatever output you are getting, it should be objective oriented for you. So because of the clash between these three, budget will be difficult. Okay, getting the point. Now the question from Ahmed Butt is how many points to write? Normally it's 1 mark per valid point. Normally, okay, it depends paper to paper. But these are what is also part of your book. Okay, there are 3 to 4 points normally mentioned in your BPP text or a Kaplan text. The difference between these two. So it's very straightforward. There are 3 to 4 points that you write here. Right? But it is not just writing the subheadings enough, because the verb is discussed. Go into detail of that. Not just stating no single identifiable objective. You will not get marks for that. You need to discuss that. Okay? Getting the point? Not a need as such for the conclusions, right? No, you don't have to write in a tabular form. No. Only tabular form is used when the table is given there itself. That's it. Okay? So I hope we are done with this one. Right? Okay. In this case, there is not a big scenario to which I can relate here. Not a very big scenario to which I can relate here. So I would say, okay, this is more knowledge based, just because nothing much to relate with this. A very short scenario is given. Third point was about multiple stakeholders. Because there are multiple stakeholders in not-for-profit organization, this means that you simply needs to that can create a problem for you when you're doing budgeting. So because in private sector, the preference should be given to shareholders, which means you will only focus on profit maximization. But in public sector, there are so many stakeholders, so you can't just focus on one area. That's why budgeting will be difficult. Yeah, one comparison is fine, just because the point itself is so much clear that, okay, objective itself very clear that objective is the difference. So that's the only point here for comparison. Okay, thank you. VFM is normally used for not-for-profit organizations. Okay, so VFM is normally used for NFPIs, not-for-profit organizations, Umair Khalid. So that's why budgeting may be difficult, because in that economy of effectiveness is normally we focus on. Okay, Umair. Okay, now let's quickly jump towards the next two requirements. Explain the term incremental and zero-based budgeting. 4 marks. The verb is, come on quickly, please, quickly, because the last requirement is the most important one, and nobody will leave until and unless I complete the question. Okay, so hello, what happened? Yeah, explain the term. So verb, explain, object, incremental budgeting, and see, and additional requirement, zero-based budgeting. 4 marks. A quick split up of marks. Can you tell me a quick split up of marks? 2 objects. You will only get when you write about the 2 objects. So yeah, it's 2 division. It's 2 division. Yeah. You have to explain the terms. Remember, explain the terms. Terms. Okay. So a definition would be okay. Answer guidance says 2 paragraphs would be okay. 1 paragraph for incremental, 1 paragraph for zero base. That seems okay. Yeah, it's definition, it's knowledge based, and explanation means you have to explain what an internal budget is. So explanation normally, will be covered through the definition. That is, it starts from previous period budget or actual performance, with incremental amounts being added for new budget period. Okay, zero-based budgeting is a process which starts from a base of 0 with no reference made to prior. It's the opposite of incremental. You know that, right? Every department is reviewed comprehensively, the all expenditure requiring approval rather than just incremental expenditure requiring approval. So that's okay. Getting the point? Yeah. You can write definition in your own words. Yeah, that's okay. It's not about just learning things and writing in the exam. That's perfectly fine, okay? So I hope this is clear. Knowledge base, 2 objects, done. Next one. Come on, quickly tell me. Examinable verb and object. State. Main stages involved in preparing ZBB. 3 marks. 3 marks. Come on. It's the output phase now. What all we have learned today is the output phase now. Be with me. Don't leave the session till the end, because the next part of 8 marks is extremely important. Okay. The verb is state. Object, main stages. Marks are 3. So main stages you need to write. Now, what is a quick marks breakup? How many stages do you have in your mind? 1, 1, 1. Yeah. So answer guidance. Simple 3 steps, 3 points. Activity identified by the managers. prepared at the base level, minimum level. Remember, incremental packages reflect high level of service. Will rank packages, okay, and will allocate the resources. Because these are stages, so I can use numbering here because stages. So numbering is okay in this case only. Okay. You just have to state here. You can keep this also much shorter. The first point I'm talking about. The next two are okay. You can keep this much shorter because the verb is state. Okay. So I've added this for the extra information, but you can just cut it short further because just 1 mark for one stage. And as these are stages, so you can use the pointers here in only that case. Yeah, Taruf, this is what I'm saying. Because these are stages, so you can use numberings here. Okay? Getting the point? Everyone, are you with me? Any improvement in your theory side today? No, you can't just write evaluate and rank. That's too short, okay? That's too short. At least you write management will do evaluation and will rank the projects. That seems okay. At least it should be a proper sentence, not just evaluate or rank. No, that's not the right thing. In this case, Himinka, you will not lose marks because the scope is just of 1 mark, right? Okay. Next, the biggest one, the last biggest challenge for you will sum up what you have learned today. Let's see. Discuss the views that there is no longer a place for incremental budgeting in any organization, particularly public sector ones, highlighting any drawbacks of ZBB that needs to be considered. 8 marks. Arvind, yeah, pointers only when it's stages. Okay, I know stage 1, 2, 3. That's okay. Only in that case. Otherwise, it's not recommended to use numbered points, right? Now, come on, guys. Ready for this last part? Can you tell me verbs and objects? Verbs and objects. Okay. So let's see what you have here. Discuss the view that there is no longer a place for incremental budgeting. It's the object. It's the core object. In any organization, do make sure the word any, which means the profit ones and the not-for-profit ones. Okay? Particularly public sector ones, highlighting any drawbacks of ZBB that needs to be considered. This is for 8 marks. Now, how will you handle such a question in the exam? Please don't rush. I'll take my time to explain you the flow of the answer. This is the best thing for today that I'm doing here. Okay? Now, how to write? Verb is discuss. And let me just quickly jump towards my document of, okay, discuss. It's a high level skill and requires a candidate to give their own thoughts on subject. Own thoughts on subject, your own thoughts. Supporting it with facts and logical reasoning. So in discussion, you can give your own thoughts. Remember, And if marks are more, as I mentioned, marks are important to look every time. And if marks are more, then yeah, you can give your own thoughts. And in doing so, let me tell you one more thing is that you look at the both sides of the story. You're also expected to look at the both side of the story, the positive side and the negative side. And your own thoughts matter because it's a high level verb. Discuss. It's one step ahead explanation. Okay. State a basic level. One step ahead explain. One step further ahead discuss. Okay. So you're going upwards. Right. That's fine. Now, what to write? Listen, you need to grab more marks. So focus should be on core object. So see, just focus on the term. No longer a place in any organization, particularly public sector one. This means you have to write about incremental budget. And the argument is there is no longer a place for incremental budgeting. Now you tell me, to support this argument, what you should write for incremental budget. To support this argument, come on, I want your answers. To support this argument that incremental budget has no more place left in any organization, what point you have to write to grab more marks? Yes, awesome. Drawbacks. See the flow of the answer. More focus on objects for major marks. Okay, right. Cover both sides. But the emphasis should be on drawbacks more. The emphasis should be on drawbacks more because the statement itself is of no longer, no longer. So tell why no longer. So the view there is no longer a place in any organization is rather extreme view. That's too much. And why they are mentioning is, listen, it is known for encouraging slack and wasteful expenditure. This is a drawback of incremental. The best way to explain the flow of the answer, I'm showing you the flow of the answer. So this is the drawback I mentioned here. Hence, comment that it is particularly unsuitable for public sector organization where cash cutbacks are being made. So listen, in a public sector, it's important to control cost. As I mentioned earlier, using incremental budget creates a problem that there will be slack, there will be wasteful spending. Because there is wasteful spending and there is slack, and in public sector especially, that's killing for the organization, because public sector doesn't have any profit motive, which means they need to reduce the cost, which unfortunately incremental budget will not allow. So what I mentioned in my answer, first I started with the argument here that okay, incremental budget is not useful, but mentioning that it is not useful for any organization is an extreme point. But yes, these are the drawbacks which are giving me the idea, okay, yeah, for public sector especially, no. Great. Okay. Here I can get up to 3 marks. Up to 3 marks means if I've written this well, I can score maximum 3 marks from this area. But normally we don't get complete 3 marks. So maybe I can expect 1.5 to 2 marks by mentioning this. Simarpreet Singh, what I'm mentioning here is because the question was no longer a place for incremental budget in any organization, particularly public sector one. So I started with a drawback of incremental to show that, okay, because of this or these issue, they are saying that public sector or incremental budget is not useful, and especially in public sector, it's because public sector requires to control cost, which is actually difficult in incremental budget due to wasteful spending. Mikkel, we don't have much information in this scenario to look whether it's stable or unstable right now. Had been given, we would have done that. Okay, okay, that's fine. Now, done. Second, highlighting drawbacks of ZBB. So how I'll continue the flow of the answer. Now what I'll write? Okay, fine. This means you are focusing a lot on zero base. So do remember, you need to cover the drawbacks of ZBB as well. Hello, this is also the object. Now we will write about the drawbacks of ZBB. However, to say there is no place, don't ignore drawbacks. See the continuity of the answer. This is the continuity we want in the exam. Okay? Right. So the major point covered here, you can get more marks. Now the drawbacks. So let's see the drawbacks. The drawbacks that you have covered, like departmental managers will not have the skills to construct decision package. I did mention today. They need training for this. That will require time. Other drawback, large organization. There will be lots of paperwork involved, which means costs would be high, unmanageable it will be. Furthermore, ranking of packages can be difficult, as I mentioned, due to what? Qualitative benefits, qualitative factors. The same drawbacks I've covered here. So now I can get more marks again because it was very much mentioned highlighting drawbacks. See? So again, I can get around 2 marks here as well. 2 marks for incremental drawbacks, 2 marks for ZBB drawbacks, because both are actually supporting what is being asked. Okay? I hope this is clear. Okay, let me show you the previous slide. If you want to copy, so Nadia, don't worry, I'll provide you the slide in the group. Okay, so will sort out your matter if you're copying this. Getting the point? Now let's move on. Discuss the view. So we have to cover both sides of the story, right? So first I mentioned, okay, incremental budget for public sector. For public sector makes sense. Issue, cost will be high, wasteful spending, but don't forget the drawbacks of ZBB as well. Now let's come towards the positives of these two so that I can reach to some kind of a conclusion here. So further what I'll write, it could be argued that ZBB is more suitable for public sector than for private sector, because listen, the question mentioned about any organization and particularly public sector one. See, any organization and particularly public sector one. So I have to cover both. So what I will say, more suitable for public sector than for private sector. Why? Now you know. Public sector, not-for-profit organization. ZBB is important because in public sector, there is no profit motive. So it's important to control costs. And how will you control costs? Is by proper decision packages, proper justification. This means now I will come towards the advantages of ZBB. So what I'll say, easier to prepare decision packages. Okay? Local government, for example, there are so many activities like housing is an activity, schooling is an activity, local transport is an activity. So you will prepare proper decision packages for these. Okay, so you can prepare better packages, and this will ensure proper justification. Positives. Now listen, the key thing to remember, I'm not writing all the positive points that I've learned from the book, but those that are relevant here, like those that I can link with public sector. Fine. So now, for public sector, ZBB seems okay. But when it says for all type of organization, for all the type of organization, what do you think? For all the types of organization? No. Incremental is still useful. Incremental is still useful. Why? Listen, those activities that are of repetitive nature, because zero-based budget requires everything to be justified, entire budgeting process to be justified. But there are certain activities that are repetitive nature ones. Okay, and if, for example, your employees, so the cost of employees never changes, so it's a repetitive cost that you incur every time. Why you always justify or take a justification for the employee cost? So when there are certain activities which are of repetitive nature, will be used repetitively, in that case it's useful to use incremental, which is quicker and easier to use. Okay, so saying that incremental is no longer useful, it's wrong. It is useful for activities that are of repetitive nature. And saying that not useful in any organization is wrong. Because there are certain profit organizations where stable conditions are there. So it's good to use incremental for repetitive activities. Okay? Getting the point? So mentioning about this may give you 2 marks. Right? And now, so what's your final thought about this? What's your final thought about this after hearing all these things? Come on, tell me yes or no. Incremental, not useful in any organization? Say yes or no. Come on, say yes or no. No, it is useful for repetitive operations, right? Okay. And I would say for public sector ones, yeah, I would say for public sector ones, ZBB is more useful. But bear in mind the drawbacks. Bear in mind the drawbacks. So in conclusion, ZBB is more suited to public sector and is more likely to make cost saving in hard times. But drawbacks should not be overlooked. So in public sector, I would say yes. But saying it is not useful in any kind of organization, incremental budget, that's wrong, because incremental still you can use for operations that are repetitive in nature, even in profit-oriented organizations. So you understood the flow of the answer. We started with the drawbacks of incremental, went on to the drawbacks of zero-based budget. Then, as a matter of argument, we covered the positives of ZBB, covered the positives of incremental, and went for the final conclusion then. Zero-based incremental budget is useful for organization that is small or large, but stable conditions important. Okay? So here as you had to discuss the view. So conclusion would have given you 1 mark separately. 1 mark separately. Major marks you can secure by writing the drawbacks of incremental, because it says no longer. So drawbacks. Okay. Then it asked you about the drawbacks of zero base. So major marks you can grab from here as well. Okay. So maybe I would say 2 marks here, 2 marks here makes 4 marks, right? Then I would say, okay, you can get 1 mark for the conclusion as well. So that makes 5 marks, okay? And 3 marks altogether you can secure by writing the advantages. So major marks you could grab by writing more about the object that was written here. So it's 2 for drawback of IC, 2 for drawback of ZBB, 1 for the conclusion makes 5, and then remaining 3 marks for the positives. Okay, now when do we always conclude in discussion? It's not that. It's not that, but here as it asked you to discuss the view. So something that you have to discuss, kind of an argument, stuff like that. Okay, so then okay, it's good to write a conclusion. But normally it's not very much important to write conclusion every time. Okay, Asma Khan? Recommendations are not required. Okay, recommendation, you had to discuss the view, so no recommendations required here. Understood? So guys, did you understood the flow of the answer? Everything will be in paragraph form. Okay. Okay, now if you just missed out on the conclusion, so as I mentioned, the marks are up to, so you can grab more marks in the other part. Okay, Nehad? So you can get more marks, maybe up to 3 marks are available for drawbacks of IC, drawbacks of ZBB. So you can grab more marks in that part as well. Okay, because whenever it's up to, so whenever you write more good about certain area, you get complete mark in that area. So that's how you save yourself in case of up to. Get the point? Yeah, normally Yusra, it's the case we go for both side arguments. But that you do with facts and facts as well. Okay. Okay. So I hope this is clear. Now, learning curve was supposed to be done as well. A quick analysis of learning curve is in front of you. Tested a lot in the papers, learning curve. I will share my $1 million plans for learning curve as well. But I will definitely tell you how to solve using a spreadsheet. So don't worry. This will be covered through the $1 million plan, right? So $1 million plan will be shared with you people in the respective WhatsApp groups. Through this, you can cover learning curve very well. I've covered learning curve in my previous webinars, so don't worry at all. That will be covered. So it's a quick analysis for you how many times it has been tested. Okay. Now, this slide is also available in the $1 million plan. So once I will tell you from where you need to cover, so you can watch at this slide and in detail way you can cover learning curves with me that I've covered in previous webinars. So not to bother. Right? Okay, so $1 million plan will be shared on the respective WhatsApp groups. Please, this is my WhatsApp number. Just WhatsApp me at this number. Be part of my group where I'll share the plan, follow the plan. In 2 weeks, you will be able to prepare performance management, and this is my guarantee to you. In 2 weeks. Wanna prepare in 2 weeks? Say yes or no. Okay, so just WhatsApp me at this number. Please make sure you WhatsApp me at this number if you haven't. Okay. I said I will share the $1 million plan with links of learning curve. So you can just go to that link and watch that. Okay. Okay. Now, questions, comments quickly. I'll spend 3 minutes for your general questions. Okay. So, sir, I have been getting problems to access the additional practice of CBE. You have the ACCA platform available, so you can use that ACCA platform for the CBE practice. Also, in the group, I'll try to share the link of the extra construct workspace, so that will help you. Okay. Are flexible and flex budget same? Flex budget is a flexible budget, okay, which is prepared on actual units. So whenever you prepare on actual units, we call this as flex budget, but this is a flexible budget. I will share the plan tomorrow morning. Once the group is properly organized, then I'll send you. Okay. Can you please give us some work plan questions? Definitely. The $1 million plan will give you further practice of the questions as well. So you just follow the $1 million plans first, and then I'll tell you the extra questions. Sir, what is realistic budgeting? Okay, you need, I need to just scroll. Okay, BBP textbook is more good, I would say. I'll share the index, the chapters to read from BBP book. Linear programming, Ishaq, I will cover this time most probably. Okay. Okay. Examiner, why I mentioned positive? Because the verb was discussed, so I had to discuss the argument both the sides. So that's why I covered positives as well. But more marks for negatives you will get. Okay. Remote exams you have to give at your home. That's it. Okay. Scratchpad I will cover in the coming webinars. Definitely I'll cover Scratchpad, how to use it. That's okay. For that, internet usage and details, technical details are available on ACCA platform, that what kind of laptop and Microsoft window you have to use, so you can just use that. Normally for learning curves, we do use 3 to 4 decimals for the cumulative average that we have worked out. Decision tree I will cover this time, hopefully. Okay. How do we get half marks in the exam? I don't know what you mean to say by this, Asma Khan. Yes, you will get the access to the recordings tomorrow. Yeah, you will get the access to the recordings. Okay. If it's a remote paper, so you can't use the rough paper, you have to use the Scratchpad. Plan I'll share on the WhatsApp group. I think not much advantage to use screen calculator. Use your own physical calculators. I will cover risk and uncertainty. Yeah. Okay. Beyond budgeting video, I'll share through $1 million plan, so you can cover that. Shadow price will be covered in linear programming. Yes, I will cover rounding off problems when I move towards section A and B calculations. Once you cover the $1 million plan, Danish, then I will give you the further plan for the questions. BPP, I've already mentioned the textbook. $1 million plan is something that includes the link of previous webinars to cover the other topics. Yeah, it's good to solve kit if you have done, so I think it will be good for you. No, mock is paid. I'll share the details on the WhatsApp group. I will cover transfer pricing chapter this time. Important chapters I'll tell you at the end of the webinar. Yes, advanced costing technique will not be tested in section C, will only be tested in section A and B. Okay. I will try to cover relevant costing this time as well. Remote invitation tips, right now I can't give you. Let me see whether I get time in the remaining days, then I'll see. Information technology tips I will cover. Don't worry. 5th day. Next webinar is tomorrow, same time. Okay. Now, please, before I end the session, I need your feedbacks. First, you will give feedbacks to me here, and after the session gets ended, you will receive a feedback form from ACCA. Please just fill the feedback. It's important for me. It's important for my improvement. But right now, how you rate the today's session overall? Was it good, interesting, worth it, confidence builder, improved your theory? Did focus on theory was good? Yes or no? Enjoyed the new tips, tricks, learn the tips and tricks, how to handle theory? I need your feedbacks. Are you happy? Was it good for you? So the 3 hours were worth it, right? Okay, so your feedback is my motivation. And tomorrow I will come up with much better techniques, much better ideas to make sure that all my friends do pass in June 2021. Thank you very much for your good response. Do me a favor, please. Right after the session gets ended, you will be shared with the feedback form. Don't forget to give feedback to ACCA, because this feedback goes to ACCA that further gives them the idea how the session was conducted today. So please, after the session, do make sure that you give your feedbacks to the ACCA. Just after the session, you will get the form. Just fill that form. It's a small request from my side. Just send me a quick WhatsApp message if you haven't. This is my number, +92 321 2436 266. Just send me the WhatsApp message till morning, because it's 12 right now in Pakistan. So till morning, I will completely make the group and will share the $1 million plan. Do attend next 4 days. Until then, take care. Thank you very much for trusting Rizwan Maniya once again. Thank you very much for being there till the end. See you tomorrow. Until then, take care. Bye.